Tuvalu, and welcome back to Star Trek Season 2, Episode 3. Didn't have to check notes. The Changeling, or as real fans know it, Episode 8. Didn't have to check notes. I'm not organized today. I was looking at Reddit. Where today, yes, we are watching The Changeling. Quick announcement before we go on. Tomorrow in the United States is daylight savings time, so the clock, let's see, will be going an hour forward. So Doctor Who's stream, if you don't have daylight savings, will be an hour earlier than you might expect it. I mean, it's scheduled on YouTube. You can just go check that. It'll tell you in like X hours. But also next week, Star Trek, if you're just here for this, will be... It's still noon Pacific Standard Time. That just happens an hour earlier if you don't also have daylight savings time. Okay, side note, right? I, especially as a computer programmer, just think that the world would be better if we didn't have time zones, right? And I don't mean some, like, China strategy, where the whole country, if you don't know, all of China is on one time zone, even though... it really shouldn't be with how long it is. The people on the westernmost side of the country are like hours off because everything's on Beijing time, which is in the far east of the country. I mean, like, you know, we can keep Greenwich as the middle, whatever, and it's like you wake up at 3 a.m. or whatever because that's where you live in the world. But it's not like the middle of the night. It's just this. We say the sun rises at 3 a.m. You get what I'm saying? Like, everyone's clocks is just set to London time, and you adjust when you wake up, when you go to bed, when you go to work, based off what makes sense for the daylight. And I genuinely think everything would be better with no downside. Right. There we go. That's my conversation. But anyway... if you don't know what we're doing, we're not contemplating daylight savings time and time zones. We are actually... oh, by the way, this solution also works for, like, other planets, through, like, space programs. But we are actually going to be essentially recording an audio commentary track live for The Changeling. Obviously, for legal reasons, I can't just stream an episode of Star Trek or the audio. So in the description, you will find a link to the Paramount Plus episode. I'm using, like, Blu-ray rips I have. And I will also, in a little bit, we're going to do a countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. On go, everyone's going to hit play, and I'll play a blurred version of the background, as well as keep this time bar up on screen to help everyone stay synced up. Personally, I am watching the remastered version. It doesn't matter what you watch, it's just personal preference. We should all stay synced up. Paramount Plus does have the remastered version, at least for the one episode I checked. So... yeah, I mean, you can watch. It's just personal preference. I don't think it really matters for Nomad. Just like a laser beam or two would be my guess. But hey. So The Changeling. I like to ramble a little bit for people to get set up. Not just about time zones, but sometimes the episodes themselves. The Changeling, of course, is a famous episode because of Nomad. Come to think of it, I'm not actually sure why. Because Nomad's basically a cube. I don't know. It's not the least interesting thing. I think it's one of those that's just kind of famous in itself. I mean, I have a model of Nomad, so I guess he's iconic enough. But it's the first one of our space probes is quote-unquote evil now, which is noteworthy. I think it's a Kirk talks a computer to death episode. I mean, a computer's a villain. That's probably the safe bet. I don't really remember this one, how it ends too much. I also don't remember if it's particularly good or bad. I remember being annoyed about Nomad's logic here. It's a very classic case of writers, especially older writers, when computers were still very new, not really understanding how programming works. And the setup's rather nonsensical. I don't mean Nomad comes alive. It's... I mean, we'll get into it, because I also don't remember the specifics of the episode too much. But I remember that really bothering me. But maybe it's in a way that won't really bother me as much nowadays. I watched a classic Doctor Who episode the other day with my wife. What was it? The Ambassadors of Death, which I remember was one I really didn't like, and I liked a lot better the middle part on a rewatch. But I also recognized it had a lot of things that would have bothered me before, but I didn't care as much about now, like just a week ago. But also Doctor Who's just built a bit different, so who knows? Who knows? I also remember this is the episode that Uhura finally comes back from her vacation. I don't think she's been in this season at all. I'm sure nothing bad will happen to her. Anyway, that's probably enough rambling. So as I said before, we're going to be doing a countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. On go, everybody is going to hit play, and we should all stay synced up. Don't skip the intro if that's an option. We just let it play, or it's just too much hassle to deal with stuff like that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And I hit play successfully. Right now, if you're seeing that dumb Star Trek logo they have at the start of every series, because they do that in the future, I guess, I can't deal with that. But thankfully, Paramount Plus does not do that. So this whole series of videos can work. Is Uhura's hair a bit different? I don't remember it being... I don't know what it's called, but it's got like the little cylinder in the front that I don't recall. But it's been like 2.5 months since we've seen her, so who knows? Man, I wish I had subtitles on my rips. Just... Oh, I remember. Yeah, Nomad's going around, like, downloading people or something. Cymbeline Bloodburn. You know, you'll never get it because of COVID, but that's set up for an episode where they have to deal with a disease that apparently can just, like, ravage a whole system in maybe a few months. Not like a week, but that's like one of the most terrifying things that we've had in the show. Oh yeah, that's a remastered effect if I've ever seen one. I'd love every now and then on the modern shows if we get little tumbles like that where people are running across the bridge. No, it doesn't really make sense. I mean, physics-wise, you can make it work. It's just a very specific scenario. I will say, though, props to this episode for getting going, at least so far. Hang on. There we go. And the planet that always makes me think of Mars, but I'm pretty sure is not Mars. One day, someone's gonna let me know. No, actually, is that Mars? Oh, here's something I've never considered. What did we think Mars looked like in the 60s? That might just be a drawing of what Mars looks like from a crappy telescope. So maybe I should just Google this one day. It's bothered me for 20 years. Boom, 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 boom. I've always found the title weird. I think they explain it too. But, like, it's the myth of the Changeling, right? Essentially Odo. But is that really what Nomad is? Like, the student? The graduate? I don't know. Can you tie it into evolution, perhaps? I don't know. It's always... TOS is usually, like, knockout with its titles. I think titles have gotten worse in Star Trek since the 60s. Discovery kind of tried to do 60s style titles, but I don't know. It just wasn't the same a lot of the time for me. But this one's not the best title. Surely you even just like The Machine, maybe that's a bit generic for 60s sci-fi. The Nomad's not really threatening. The Traveler's a bit mysterious. I don't know. I feel like you could have done better. I also always find it funny that how many things aren't in sensor range when you can see it. Our sensors cannot detect visible light, Captain. God knows what the view screen is then, if not a light sensor. Yeah, I think Scotty's gotta be considered a main character now by production, because he didn't used to have a bridge station, I don't think. I think it is better for the show, though. I've talked before, I think in this season, it stopped kind of being a show about Spock, Kirk, and Bones, and it started being a bit more of an ensemble cast, where definitely those three are still kind of in most episodes, you know, they're the top three. But Uhura, Scotty, Sulu, Chekhov, all are getting a good share of the screen time. I mean, other than Uhura, who seemingly was on vacation. Trying to remember, is Nomad, I think it's a probe we haven't built yet. Like from the 70s or something, so it would have been the future. I lose track, to be honest, of all the probes in Star Trek. Is it Voyager 7, or is that like the movie one? It is still, though. It's keeping up an action-y opening. I am wondering if it's going to take a dip for like 5 minutes once Nomad actually comes on the ship. No, it's not. Cylindrical? Small ones. What was that look? He's like, Spock, we all know that big people smart. Kirk, it is obviously sped up sounds. You're a Starfleet captain. Uhura's probably like the best communications officer in the fleet for the next like 10 minutes. What, are you understanding it? Oh, I see. I mean, I don't know what Spock's listening to, because it sounds the same to me. But much faster this time, apparently. He didn't say Earth. What? I'm trying to remember. What makes Nomad stop? Is he just, like, totally aggressive till someone says hi? Oh! It's because Kirk is the guy who made Nomad, isn't it? I met a Captain Kirk once, which is kind of relevant to this episode. he was the captain of like a lake ferry. So shoutouts to Captain Kirk. Doesn't look like it. Come on, it's literally the word nomad, Spock. You can't be like, oh, this is clearly that probe that Earth sent out. Wait, nomad's in a ship. I guess maybe like shielding or something. Also, if you want to get technical about how strict the computer is, Nomad absolutely would have operating parameters. You know, like temperature, radiation, pressure. I bet if you put Nomad on the surface of Venus, it wouldn't last too long. All right, here we go. So it's been pretty well paced up to this point. But I've said before, I feel like they often have to waste about 5 minutes. Oh, God, I forgot how good the Nomad prop was done as well, actually. The hover effect, even remastered in HD, every now and then, I think you can kind of see a string. But usually, it's really effective. Obviously, I imagine sometimes it's probably just like sitting on a table when the bottom isn't in shot. I don't know, it's got to be a super light prop or a really great string. And the way it's really still, but because, you know, it is still on a string, it does have that slight wobble like I feel a machine actually would. Brilliant. I do love how the Nomad prop is done. No, Kirk, it could match that. I don't know, stellar emissions, the number of planets, the type of star. I'm gonna wipe that one down for my wife. They love ways to describe pregnancy that sound funny. I contain no parasitical beings. God, Nomad. Nomad's been on screen for 30 seconds, and I think I might get really annoyed at how they interpret computer logic. Oh, I was way off. Early 2000s. Well done. Well done. I don't like the engine, not engine, the sort of really noise it's making. It's almost like a tape rolling. Yeah, okay, there you go. You can see a string in HD, but even then, not when it's over the shadow. I think it's just exceptionally well done. How would you even do that? Did they have to install custom rigging up in the ceiling? Or could they have taken advantage of something that was already there? I assume the sets generally just don't have a ceiling. Well, the corridors do, so are we gonna see Nomad in a corridor? There's something to look out for. Even something little like that. Nomad started just in front of the door frame, but like Bones was behind it and Spock was under it. So you still get the sense that Nomad went under that little bit of ceiling, even though he didn't, because obviously the string would hit it. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. Is Pluto on this map? I'm trying to get out of the way, Nomad. Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Uranus. No, Pluto is not a planet, according to Star Trek. I do kind of like, but Bones is so close to working well. It's just, as a character, he could have been such a fun present, just slightly tweaked. I was gonna say, I bet maybe a modern Bones would be quite fun, but modern Bones is not fun, is he, in the JJ stuff? I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the explanation of why Nomad is like this. Because he's misinterpreted something, but... Earth acts... I mean, indirectly, Earth destroys this inhabited planet of 4 systems. I feel like there'd be some fallout. Oop. It isn't as engaging an episode knowing a good chunk of the answers. But I still am forgetting a lot of the main parts. It's almost, I keep having to remind myself to comment because I'm like, why is he doing this? It's one of the better paced, just like sit and talk episodes. I mean, this is essentially future tech we're talking about, not the actual 2000 probes. It is kind of funny, though, it just wouldn't notice an asteroid. I'm also just looking out for the string. Like, right now, I think Nomad is just probably sitting on that console. Because he's not vibrating as much. But it's the fact that it's hard to tell is a testament to the production team. And then he dies. Oh, no. Okay, I remember. This is the part... Yeah, this is the episode that if you're not aware... Well, it takes her in an interesting direction. It also makes watching Uhura's character development in Strange New Worlds really fascinating. I'm just going to say it. Nomad's about to wipe Uhura's memory, and she's casually going to get re-educated, and it'll never be brought up again. But, like... It's like... when Scotty was just so casually just hates women pathologically. It's like, yeah, Uhura dies this episode. But, you know, we just brush over that. I don't think Nomad would know that either, but, you know, whatever. Like, did Roy Kirk send instructions personally and, like, sign them? You know, it might contradict it, but it could have been fun if in the early 2000s, that's Vulcan looking over Earth and studying us. if Vulcan was the other species. Screw you, Friendship 1. But yeah, obviously they wouldn't do it now, but yeah, a fun fan theory. I don't like it for a few reasons, but is that the Borg were the ones who hit Nomad. It kind of makes sense at looking for the perfect life form, but I don't know. It feels kind of like I think the writer might be assuming that computers are programmed by like talking to them in English. But yeah, and I don't know. It's just, as I said, the setup is like absolutely nonsensical. And yeah, that kind of bothers me the whole it's not just the setup, right? Often there are episodes with like a nonsensical setup, but there's still good episodes built on top of that. So I can largely get by it. But like anytime anyone's talked to Nomad, I just get real frustrated at basic failures and understanding what logic actually is. Or how computers work. That was well done. I'm also just gonna say it now. Uhura loves singing a lot when she works. God, I would hate working with Uhura. Like, woman, I'm trying to do my job. Do you know how hard it is to, like, pilot a starship? But you're real distracting. Everyone, this comes up a lot with robots, is like, what is the point of singing? You know, you're not actually doing anything, or yada yada. I bet a good chunk of singers could actually... That was a Star Wars sound effect. Sorry, that just threw me off. Anyway, I bet a good chunk of singers could actually explain exactly what music is, like, for and why, beyond just, like, I don't know. It's like, no, there is a reason. Hey, we got it. It was more surprise, but there we go. We got a proper he's dead Jim from Bones. What screens? What? What's Scotty doing? Does Scotty not become the chief engineer till this episode? I mean, that might explain why he wasn't a big part of season 1. Oh, yeah, I forgot about this line. That's one that never really registered to me, that I'm pretty sure that's a joke about women are emotional. But also, like, change it so that Uhura was a man, or he attacked a man, and everything about that scene works. It's a really weird one. You haven't even looked. Wait, are they talking about her or the dead guy? You haven't even tried. Okay. I think they are talking about Uhura. Yeah, Bones didn't even acknowledge her. Like, wow. Maybe she's just stunned with her eyes open. You don't know. Oh, there you go. You can see the string again, but again, it's in HD. Is I imagine you never would have seen something like this in black and white on a 60 screen, but I've also wondered the people who do these remasters, because I think TOS was a pretty manual remaster. Maybe I'm wrong. I know TNG was, but why don't you just hide the string, right, when you're remastering them? Because even like 20 years ago, it wouldn't have been too hard to mask over the string. Especially here, when it's always over, like, essentially a solid color, and you can see there's a fair amount of color noise over the whole image. Like, this is the easiest case. What, wait, Scotty was the one who died? I didn't even realize. Okay, never mind. That didn't look anything like Scotty. Two men. Always. Once we get to TNG, you'll see me point this out a lot. Nearly any problem that Starfleet faces, be it like a worm or literally Q, is two men, maybe Worf, right? Every now and then, you get four dudes, but 95% of the time, it's two men and maybe Worf. Yeah, you did. You did tell us without looking, Bones. But she actually, bothered to check. I'm kind of getting convinced that Bones is a terrible doctor. She's being taken care of. Meanwhile, in the corner, she's just standing there, unresponsive. He even grew his finger back. Which, in fact, wait, is it that finger? I think the time bar might be in the way. I'll put the time bar back in a sec. Hang on, there you go. You can see. I want to see the finger. Because if you don't know, James Doohan is missing a finger. And you rarely ever see it in Star Trek. But he lost it in one of the wars. I would assume World War II. I don't know. He's not old enough to be in World War I, surely. He downloaded Uhura's plane. Yeah. Oh, I guess he didn't he probably downloaded Uhura, then deleted Uhura on his system. Yeah, just casually, She won't remember her tragic backstory about her parents dying in a shuttle or any of her... literally anything. Uhura just died. It's just, I want that absolutely clear. Uhura's dead. And everything else is just a new woman named Uhura. And we're gonna brush that over. Is it just, like, a total I don't care about the character? Like, to be fair, the character of Uhura at this point isn't much. She's a communications officer who likes to sing and is apparently skilled with electronics. I think that is, like, Uhura's character at this point. But the social impact of a black woman being one of the main characters on this bridge, on this show, is massive. And it's like, nah, let's just... You can replace that through re-education. There's nothing about the actual character that really matters at this point. Which is, of course, why it's a bizarre choice to have Uhura in Strange New Worlds and develop her when you know that all that's going to just go away, partway through TOS. Almost human. You're Vulcan. You're incredibly stubborn race because of your logic. The worst Vulcans are, but this is exactly the kind of stubbornness you would have encountered at school. Not even a sound effect. Just like, nah, they're down. I know there's a big, I'm actually surprised to see this scene. There's a big debate. No, there was a fight that happened off screen where Ahura's native language is Swahili, of course. I can't remember what country she's from originally, but Ahura's native language was Swahili. And of course, it technically doesn't really matter. Oh, there you go. There was some Swahili. I guess we're saying the universal translator doesn't exist, so she has to learn English. But yeah. So originally in the script, Ahura just spoke English, and Ahura had a big fight. Is like, I don't speak Swahili, but Ahura does. Like, that would be your native language, and they had to get Gene Roddenberry in, and Gene Roddenberry was like, I agree with that she has to speak Swahili, and they brought in a Swahili like linguistic expert to help write some of those lines. It is, however, troubling that that she used the word. They're literally like re-educating her from her native cultural language to English. And bear in mind, she doesn't have a cultural identity at the moment. It's hilarious. If you go to the Memory Alpha page for this, it's full of references to how her memory, like, it's theoretically possible that it wasn't really erased, it was suppressed. And so they're laughing. This is your friend. That's horrific. But like, it's entirely possible that Uhura's memories are resurfacing through the education. That's how she can read at a first grade level after like 5 minutes, and by the end of the episode is evidently fully qualified to, do her job at the skill she used to. But it just reads such desperation of like, surely you didn't just do this. Kill this character and re-educate them and just be like, no, yeah, this is a thing that can happen. Is gonna probably mind meld. Actually, you know what? We've kind of gotten used to this, that you can mind meld with a computer, haven't you? I actually, in principle, don't have a problem with that, because all a mind meld would be is in some way connecting, the electrochemical impulses of the brain to another brain. And they can do it across species, so it's not purely a Vulcan thing. And so it's just apparently not a chemical thing. It's just the electrical transmission, which makes sense, because you're not really going to be like exchanging the brain chemicals through this mind meld. But yeah, like in principle, I don't have a huge problem with it. I just think it should be treated like it's rare. It's difficult. There are very few computers you could mind meld with. Like, if someone mind melded with a Zoom type android, I might start complaining, just because we never saw it on TNG. But like, yeah, why not? And in Picard, there was that android that mind meld. Just give them the right receptacles on their fingers, Like, why not? If we accept that a mind meld is a thing, Is it really that different to people talking about, like, technological implants? Like, you could hook up electronics to your brain and control them that way. Is that so different to a mind meld when you already accept the fact that a mind meld exists in this universe? This is good music, by the way. Uh-huh. Spot, can I get that translated in a sec? Because I was talking over the beginning. Also, Leonard Nimoy has to do some weird stuff acting as Spock. Not to pull you out of it. Did it merge with like a medical probe or something? Or like... Oh, see, Nomad actually initiated a mind meld here. Nomad, the first android to you do a mind meld. Also, I haven't forgotten, we've still not seen Nomad in a corridor. I don't think we're gonna. That's why Kirk brought Spock out into the corridor, because he knows the string thing won't work. Come on, Kirk, it's not that hard. I mean, I just asked to spell it out, but you know. Shut up. It wandered without purpose. They just don't know how computers work. But there's, like, God knows how many things my computer's doing right now across these 3 monitors, but it also doesn't have a purpose as far as it's concerned. Ah, what? Wait, why? I guess to see if your antibacterials work? No. Wait, they merged. Fusion would be a better word. Yeah, that's not at all what happened. I'm still up. Well, so it went to other planets, this other probe. It picked up soil that just sterilized it. So it's not studying the soil, because you'd want to know, like, the bacteria and stuff. They're just like, yeah, that sounds like a thing you'd do. I don't think this writer was into science that much. I'm just gonna say it. Come here, Comet. Come here, baby. The pup's wandering around. What are you doing? What are you looking for? Oh, here we go. Okay, that did not have to be remastered. Those force fields just had so much bloom, and they're, like, way more intense than any force field we've ever seen. Like, actually, I guess the lasers wouldn't hit Nomad, would they? Because he's got a shield. And they used another Star Wars sound effect. I swear, I know this came first, but the lasers that Nomad is firing sound like Star Trek ship weapons. I don't think that'd be a royalty-free sound, because otherwise we'd hear it a lot more, right? If the Star Wars guns were royalty-free, that would show up all the time. What's Nomad use? Well, of course it does, Nomad. Nothing's 100% efficient. Like, what Nomad's job right now is to just seek out and kill imperfect life. That's his purpose, right? So why is he repairing computers? You know, he's just kind of... I feel like Nomad's motivations in this story are quite confused. I think... Because they told us early on that Nomad told us his function was to seek out perfect life. And so, improving the computer could probably, help with that, you know? Although Nomad, well, you could possibly consider him alive, probably wouldn't consider himself alive because he wasn't programmed to believe he was alive. But anyway, setting that aside, Spock's mind meld explicitly told us that what Nomad's brain thinks his job is to exterminate life. So, like, why is he repairing computers? For that matter, why is Kirk's... Oh, I guess he doesn't realize his creator's a biological hermit. I also reject the notion that because biological beings are imperfect, they can't create the perfect machine. Like, no. Emergence exists, Nomad. Beyond that, that wasn't even Nomad's logic. His logic was that biological beings are inferior, therefore they can't create superior beings. But if that was true, nothing in the universe could ever get better, right? The universe could never improve. Whatever the start condition of the universe was, it couldn't get better. And that's just objectively not true. I mean, chemical processes turn one thing to another. Like, it's just nonsensical. And you could be like, sure, but like Nomad doesn't know that. He's a logical computer. But like Nomad apparently has free will and like knows his creator and can wander aimlessly without a goal. So like, surely he can notice emergence. He's literally a survey probe. If you don't know, emergence is it's the concept of essentially the sum being greater than its whole. It's how consciousness can come from things that aren't conscious, read like the brain, or how life can come from things that aren't alive, like the cellular components or whatever. And it's essentially how the universe works. And so when Kirk later on is gonna argue Nomad to death because Nomad can't be perfect if, like, the creator wasn't perfect, what about random chance, you know? If we assume the perfect life form exists, which of course Nomad does, because Nomad believes they're perfect, then why could the random combination of molecules not create the perfect life form? It's in the infinite monkey situation, you know? If an imperfect being tries for eternity to create the perfect life form, eventually they'll succeed, assuming it's possible. Sorry, OBS just gave me an encoding error and said it was shutting down, but nothing shut down. I think we're good. I don't know. I'm still live. I'm still streaming. I'm still recording. I mean, it's the same Star Trek music as General, but I think it's being used very effectively in this episode, and I also think it's just really good. Whoa, wait, he went under the door. He's got to be on, like, a Segway or something now? But he just went up. I don't know. But it's just the mix of everything they do as Nomad is really well done. Or turning down the video setting. Yeah, no, OBS. I'm gonna turn off the blurred background because OBS seems like it's having some issues. No, I really wanted that number. I want to know how long you think you could last with all that air. Not alone heat. Fun fact, heat management is generally one of the, like, most difficult parts of a space station or a spaceship. By which I mean getting rid of excess heat, because essentially everything you do, in fact, I think literally everything you do generates heat. And the only way you can get rid of it in space is to radiate it off, right? But radiation is by far the least efficient way to transfer heat. Ideally, you'd want direct contact, either with like air or, you know, like a table or something. But all you can do is radiate it off into space, and that's real inefficient. And if you're in the solar system, you're like around Earth, you really got to be careful to make sure that the heat radiation from the sun is not outpacing how much heat you're getting rid of. If you look at the IRS, no, the ISS, it's got like loads of panels coming off it, and some of them are solar panels, the huge ones that look like solar panels. But everything else is a big radiator. It's a big flat thing that emits heat just passively. So, random chance, infinite monkeys. It's not hard, Nomad. Actually, does someone have like an AI subscription? Can someone ask ChatGPT how tell it to assume the perfect being exists, and then ask if it's possible for an imperfect being to make a perfect being? And I bet our modern AIs would probably tell you, yeah, like random chance. And I mean, there's a good chance they'll fight you on the fact that a perfect being exists. But if you can get them to accept that, it's like, yeah, infinite monkeys. They actually might tell you about the infinite monkeys, you know? So you're in error. So logically, I should end with myself, right? Because that would maximize the amount of sterilization in the universe. That doesn't make Nomad an error, though. That means you were in error. Mm-hmm. Oh, actually, yeah, no, that's pretty solid evidence. You know what? I stand corrected. That's actually pretty irrefutable. Dang, did Kirk actually manage to talk a computer to death? Yeah, wow. You know what? Well done to that writer. It is exceptionally rare for a TOS writer to, like, manage logic. But yeah, that's actually pretty... yeah. Yeah, they can go through the shields. Don't worry about it. You know, I want someone to tabulate the amount of times they go to a transporter room, because I want to know if one of the most common scenarios being a transporter chief is, like some senior officer runs in with essentially a bomb and tells you to beam it in the middle of space. Dang, those are some good anti-grav units, though. Do you have any idea how much those cost? That was quite nice, that explosion. It was simple, but effective. Here you go. You can even have your blurred version of the episode back. That's an interesting... That's like a... That shot felt more 3D than I'm used to. Yeah, actually, well done. I genuinely didn't. Like, not even... I don't think Spock ever gets anything close to that level of logic. Yeah, but that's also true for, like, modern medicine. Science is a concept, you know? Yeah, Bones didn't even look at the patient. Instead, I got a shit son who gets murdered by Klingons. Wait, is he a doctor? What does Kirk's kid do? Hang on, I don't remember. I'm gonna look that up. But no, I actually, dang, that last bit of logic, I'm kind of still taken aback back that they had good logic. It sounds kind of condescending, right? It's like, wow, you actually managed to do logic, but that's what this show is. Whenever it makes logic, I mean, there's obviously a base level of logic, you know. The Klingons showed up, Ray's shields. But whenever they try and have a logical argument, usually through Spock, because of course, you know, Spock's the logic character, they just fail. And not even TOS, this is a problem in other Star Treks. My uncle will go on about how much he hates Tuvok because the writers don't really understand logic. Um, but yeah, that's pretty irrefutable. You made a mistake. There go for you're not perfect. And then recognizing you didn't realize your mistake. You made two mistakes. Star Trek Kirk Kid. David Marcus. He's either a scientist or a doctor. Oh, no, he is. He's literally Dr. David Marcus. That's funny. Is he a medical doctor? He's an astrophysicist, but still. That is fun. I couldn't remember. Yeah, you know, there were weaker moments in that episode, but it was well paced. The ending nailed it. I mean, there were flaws at the start of that argument, you know. I guess you could say Kirk is arguing from a faulty premise, but it's the best he could do. But it's still kind of annoying having Nomad not call out the flaws in the logic, or at least like give Nomad base assumptions that contradict the logic. But and that's how you could do the rigid computer thing. Is like if Nomad just knows he's a perfect machine, then anything that goes against that is just wrong, you know? But you'd have to explicitly prove that he's not a perfect machine, which is what they did. So that's all right. You know, that's all right. I think we've had a lot of strong episodes coming up in Season 2. Season 2 is a strong one. We had some good ones beforehand, and that's a pretty good episode. So I will go ahead and say thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.